Hi everyone, it's John. Today I wanted to talk about keeping a food diary. It's been about 2 weeks now since I started mine, and I've got a few thoughts about it. Overall, I think it's been a positive experience keeping the food diary. I think I'm getting a lot of good information out of it, but it's also got its issues. So let's go over some of the pros of keeping a food diary first. The biggest benefit is that you increase your awareness of how you're eating, what kind of calories you're eating, and how it's going. You can look at things like how balanced your nutrition is, what kind of foods you're eating, and you're pretty aware of when you're making a mistake. It's also really good for just keeping you on task and getting towards your goals. You know what kind of calorie count you want to eat, you know what kind of mix of foods you want to have. Keeping track of that makes you aware of what you're doing and helps you to make good decisions. The other big benefit is accountability. It kind of goes hand in hand. You know when you're making a mistake, you know what you're doing wrong, and you know you should correct it. Keeping track of that always keeps it at the top of your mind so you don't make mistakes. And if you do make mistakes, you know you made a mistake. It's probably helped me improve my portion control because I know eating a smaller amount of a food is going to be more healthy, and I know how many calories every time when I eat a lot of a food. Final real good pro is that if necessary, I can then show this to my doctors and say, hey, this is how I'm eating. You tell me what I'm doing wrong or what I need to improve. So here are some of the cons. One of the biggest cons is it's time consuming. It takes time to log your food. Even if you're using an app, you need to go look up how many calories it is. You need to figure out how much your portion was. It's a lot of work and it can be a little bit much sometimes. There's also accuracy issues. You don't really know for sure what their calories are. You can only guess that people are keeping things right. I know that food manufacturers aren't required to be dead on with their numbers and in fact can have something like a 10% discrepancy. Chances are they're erring on the low side. That's just something you have to be aware of. It's going to happen. The calories you know you're eating aren't necessarily all the calories you're eating. Another thing is, it just makes your diet feel less flexible. You know exactly what you're supposed to be doing, and therefore, when you go to a restaurant or whatever, sometimes you can't order the things you want to order, or sometimes you order the thing you want to order and then you realize you've made a mistake because there is a lot of calories or a lot of fat, or a lot of carbs, whatever associated with the meal you chose. And finally, there's cost. I have to pay for an app that helps me track this. I personally use MyFitnessPal. It's a good app, but I believe it's $79 a year for me to keep tracking these things. I use it for other things, but really the food log is the main thing I'm using it for, and I probably wouldn't need it without the food log. It can also be a little frustrating. Because it's time consuming and a little bit tedious, in the end you're forcing yourself to do this. You're also a bit dependent on the technology. I can't just manually write this down on paper and say, okay, here's my calories. I have to look everything up. And of course, there's no immediate result to watching your calories. You're not going to suddenly lose all the weight you want to lose just because you finally started eating a little bit healthier and tracking what you're doing. You have to wait, you have to be patient. It's a process. There's also a lack of spontaneity to your diet. For example, the other day, my wife brought home a cheeseburger and I ate it, and I felt guilty about it. I can't just spontaneously have what I want to have. There has to be a plan involved. So it wears on you a little bit. That's the main thing. But overall, I do think that keeping track of my calories and doing this is helping me, which is why I'm going to keep doing it. But I'll be honest, I wouldn't mind not having to do it. Okay, let's look at today's numbers. On the good news front, I lost more weight. Yesterday, I reported 310.4. This morning, it was 309.6. Still on that downward trend. I'm feeling very good about that. Yesterday's active calories were 1,021. I just barely managed to make what I wanted to make, but I made it. To do that, I took 13,345 steps, so I'm still well above my 10,000 step goal, as I have been every day. I think I'm averaging about 13,000 steps. My blood sugar this morning was 116. That's definitely an improvement over yesterday's 133, but still not as good as the 107 and 108 I was doing earlier in the week. My resting heart rate has stayed the same at an average of 67 beats a minute. My walking heart rate has gone up. It's 114 per minute. I think that's probably going to come down a little bit though, because the next few days are rainy and soggy and cold, so I'm going to be doing a lot of walking inside. I'm not going to get the kind of heart rate I want inside, but you do what you have to do. So that's it for today. I'm going to leave you with my Terry Pratchett quote of the day. This quote is from Diggers. The trouble with having an open mind, of course, is people will insist on coming along and trying to put things in it. Have a great day. Please like, please subscribe, please comment, and I'll see you tomorrow.